Okay, in the last tutorial, we left off with rigging Finn a little bit and don't have any body turns or anything like that. But we're going to start by taking the face and making it its own layer. Right now it's on the body. So I'm going to hit G and select the face artwork, and then I'm just going to do a Command X to cut it. And then I'm just going to create a new vector layer and call it face. And then Command V to paste it back in there. We need to have it on its own layer so we can mask it when we're doing a body turn. So we'll set that up here in a second. But let me do a couple more things to the face. I'm actually going to separate the eyes too. Start kind of constructing the face. So I hit T, select the eye, hold shift down, select the other eye, Command X to cut, create a new vector layer, and then call that eyes, and then paste. And I'm just going to hit G and grab the middle points and hit C for the middle points of the eye, and I'm going to uncurve those, and then I'll hit G and select the top and bottoms of both of those and hit C to curve those out and make them circle, or make them more curved again. So they look oval just like they did before, but if I grab the top and bottom points now, it makes a better blink. So I can adjust his eyes really easy. So we got that, and let's go ahead and on the face, let's just delete the mouth for now. And actually I'll go ahead and create the basic shapes for the mouth. So I'll do a new vector, and I'll just call this mouth. And I'm going to do it off to the side. And right now I think it's being masked. Let me see. Oh, I don't have anything selected. So, okay, we're going to start by creating an oval. I'll do a Command C, Command V to copy and paste, which makes another circle or oval. I'll hold down Option and shrink it down from the corner so it makes this little donut shape. I'll hit A. I'll add points to the sides of the mouth. Actually, let's make sure we have auto weld on so lines do connect. You'll hear that little click. So this is kind of going to be the top lip and the bottom lip. And then I'll hit C, and I'm going to curve the sides of the mouth out. And I'm actually going to add a few more points on the lip just because we want to make a lot of different mouth shapes. So let's just leave it at 6, 7, 8 right now. And then I will draw teeth. I'm just going to go over to the side real quick. And I'm actually going to start out with a square. And Finn, can't see it here, but he only has like 3 or 4 teeth on top. And he has a big gap in his teeth, so I'm just going to make like 3 teeth. So I'm just drawing from the square, adding points, hitting A and then hitting C to curve them out. Because Adventure Time, their characters have really rounded teeth. I'll hit A, add another point, and this is just going to create the gap in the teeth. Hit C, curve this point out, and then curve this point out, and then just move them to where they need to be. And you can come back and add teeth if you want. I'm just making it in one shape so it's easier to color. I'll hit T, click on the line so I select the entire shape, Command C, Command V to copy and paste, flip it upside down, and then I'm just going to make these teeth right next to each other. Delete that point. I think he has like 3 on the bottom. Something like that. That's good. And then I'll hit S for create new shape. Select the circle, and this is just going to be his tongue. So these are the shapes you need to create the mouth. I'll go ahead and select these teeth and put them kind of in position. They don't have to be perfect, but we do need to fill the colors in the correct order. I mean, you can restack them, but it's better to do the shapes in order. So I'll select the very back of the mouth, which is the circle that has the 8 points, and I'll hit U. and we want to fill and stroke, so click both up here and it'll turn red, checkered. And let's make the fill color a really dark red for the back of the mouth, and hit OK. And let's make the width, let's turn that down to 2 so it's about the same as the character, and then hit spacebar. And yeah, I think let's undo that. Let me see what it looks like with 1. Oops. For the width, hit spacebar. It's a little smaller than the strokes around the character, but I think that'll be okay. We can change that if we need to. So we fill in the mouth first, or the back of the mouth, then we'll select the tongue. I'll select pink for the fill color and hit spacebar. That fills in the tongue, and then we'll select the bottom teeth. Select white for the fill, hit spacebar for the bottom teeth, and then we'll do the top teeth. And hit spacebar again for the white of the teeth, and that way the top teeth are gonna be on top of the bottom teeth, and then we want the bottom of the mouth to be colored in, so we'll select, I'm hitting G, selecting the points on just the bottom part. And if the teeth are in the way, actually let me do this so it's a little easier. I'm gonna click on the teeth and just move them out of the way so it's easier for you to see. And hit U. Now I'm going to select the bottom points, holding shift down to select all those points, and if it's selected correctly it'll turn red like this. And we want to have the skin color, so we'll use the eyedropper, hover over Finn's face, and then hit spacebar, and it's going to fill it with that color. We'll do the same thing for the top, hit U, select those top points, and again remember, if you select too many points it's not going to fill correctly. It'll have an open space like this because I selected this point. So if you select too many points, just remember to hold Option down and select that point again, and it'll take it away. Again, if I hold Shift down, select too many points, it won't fill correctly, and if you hold Option down and deselect, it'll turn checkered. So we'll fill that also, but we don't want to have all of these black lines or strokes on the sides. We just want the middle stroke to be visible, so we'll go ahead and hide edges. I'll click on that tool, then I'm just left clicking and I'm just holding it down and just dragging over the strokes I don't want. That hides all of those, and because of the way that we filled the colors in, the teeth are going to be underneath there, so we can just put them where they need to be. And we can resize them, get them kind of in the correct place. Let me add another point. I'm going to put a point at the top and curve it just so we have kind of like this right here. And we have a little bit more room to mess with the teeth. And click T, select the bottom teeth and put those kind of in the same, or the correct position. Let me add a point for the bottom teeth. Put those kind of in position. I'll hit G, select everything, and then we'll just drag it over his face. Now what we're going to do, we're going to use a couple masks to do the body turn. And it's a little tricky. We want to mask the mouth in just this face layer. So what we're going to do is create a folder. Actually, I'm going to make it a bone layer, which acts the same as the folder. Face. Because we need it to be in a group in order to do masking. So under the face bone layer that we just created, we need to select the eyes and put those in it, and then also select the mouth and drag that into it as well. So you can see that kind of went over to the right underneath the face bone layer, and then the face, which is just the circle itself. Now we need to double click the face bone layer, click masking, and then hide all and apply. So what that's doing is it's hiding anything that's The face, because it's on the bottom layer, is becoming the mask. So the mouth is still there, and if I hit T and move it over, you can see it's only visible within the face. Same with the eyes. You can see the eyes right now, but I select those and I pull them off of the face, they're hidden as well. And that's what we want. So face, mouth. I'll move his mouth down a little bit. And you can see here there's a little problem when I drag the mouth to the edge. It's covering the stroke of the face mask. So we'll double click the face, hit masking, and then click expand mask by 1 pixel and extrude strokes, and hit apply. And now if I move the mouth over the stroke, you can see that it's actually underneath that stroke, which is what we want. But let me render that out. If I do a Command R, you can see the stroke is actually being covered a little bit. So I need to figure out how to fix that. And the mouth stroke is looking kind of weird too. I'm just going to do a Command A and select all of the mouth. Oh, it was already selected. And just hit W and then just make the stroke a little bigger around the mouth. I'm going to move the skin color, or the bottom lip, up a little bit. Let's move the teeth up. Actually, just for now, since we're going to start doing the turn, let's just close his mouth. So I'm just grabbing the points of all the lip and then just closing it. His teeth and mouth and his tongue are all still there. I'll hit W. I'm just going to make him look like he's smiling really quick. And, oops. I'm just using C to curve the lines a little bit. And let's just make his mouth a little smaller. So all of his parts are there for his mouth, and we'll go ahead and make all the mouths for lip syncing and switch layers and stuff a little later. But right now we have the face, and if I grab that layer, the entire face is there. But we also need to use a mask, so when we turn the body, the face gets hidden, and when it's off the body like this part's actually hidden. So in order to do that, we need to use masking in the top layer, which is the bone layer that we first created. So I'm going to double click that, I'm going to hit masking, and I'll hit hide all, and hit OK. And the reason why you only see the right arm is because it was the very bottom layer, and it's trying to use that as the mask. And we don't want to do that, so we'll double click the right arm, click masking, and don't mask this layer, hit apply. And I'm leaving this window open because I need to change everything back to don't mask. So right leg, don't mask, apply. Now the body is the object that we do want to mask because we want to make that face disappear. So we're going to say add to mask. So hit add to mask, apply, and OK. Oops. Still need to unmask the other side. So left leg, masking, don't mask this layer, apply. Left ear, don't mask, apply. Right ear, don't mask, apply. Left arm, don't mask, and apply. So we've got all our body parts back. Now, in Anime Studio or MOHO 12, the problem with this is when you're using masks within a mask and all kinds of crazy stuff, it doesn't actually render correctly. So if I go into the timeline and I grab the face layer and move it over, it looks like it's not working because just when you're doing it in preview mode or when you're working on it, you can't see it. But if I do a Command R, you'll notice that his face is actually being masked off. So this is just kind of a quirk, and just you need to be aware of that when making this type of character, that it is actually working. You have to render it to make sure that it's working. Oops, let me do a Command R again. You can see again though the stroke is not being seen, which actually, maybe that's better that it's not showing. We'll just leave it like this for now to see what it looks like when he's turning, because maybe we don't want that stroke to be visible right there. Okay, so let's go back to frame 0. Now that we have our masks set up, I just erased, or I'm going to erase that walk cycle we made in part 1. And let's go ahead and start making the body turn. And let's move, I'm going to hide that reference picture of Finn. And on frame 0, let's position our character to look like he's facing straight forward. So we're going to move his arm, his left arm's going to go underneath his body, and his left leg under the body. And then we'll click on his feet. Let's do his his right leg, his foot is facing outward. Let's do the same with his left leg. So we'll click on that. Oops. And I'm just gonna grab that point and move it over. Like that. So he looks like he's facing forward. And this is going to be our starting position for the body turn. Oops. Left leg. I'm grabbing the point instead. And then I will go to the bone layer and turn the bone itself. So it should stay there now. Okay, so arms are both behind him. And both of the legs. I wonder if they should be in front. Let me move the legs in front of him first real quick. Left leg in front. Oh, let's hide the edge on the right leg. So use the hide edge tool. Click on just the top right there, just to hide those. So both of his legs are in front. Let me test this. I'm gonna hit Z. So his legs are both in front. He has his arms behind him. Okay, that's how we'll start off. And let's go ahead and create a new bone to create the body turn. So I'll go to the very top bone layer, the fin layer. Hit B. Select on the canvas so no bones are selected. Then I'll hit A. And then I'm just gonna left click and drag. I'm holding shift so it goes straight up. And then I'll rename this body turn. And I'll hit bone strength and turn that all the way down. I'll hit B again, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn this purple and then show the label just so we know that this is the body turn bone. And then we'll go to Window, Actions, and under the Smart Bone Action tab, make sure you click that, then hit New, and we'll type in body turn. And remember, this has to be typed exactly the same as the name of the bone. And hit OK. Okay, so when the bone is facing straight up, he'll be facing forward. And then by frame 24, let's have him turn sideways. So I'll hit T. I'm going to grab the bone and hold shift down and snap it directly to the right. So it turns at a 90-degree angle at 24. And then with the bone layer still selected, I'm going to click T, and then I'm going to drag his left leg to the center. Remember to grab that top point right there. Do the same with the other leg. Drag that to the center, and do the same with the arms. Drag that directly into the center, and the other arm to the center. And then we're going to do the same with the ears. So I'll click right ear, and if it's not selected, just hit T, oops, or Command A to select all of the points, then hit T, and then I'm going to drag that directly into the center. Left ear, Command A, select all points, drag that to the center as well. And then the face layer, I'll click on that face layer, I'll select the transform layer, and we're going to drag that to the side, right there. where it cuts the face in half. And remember, if I render this, let me see, I don't know if it'll, yeah. It looks like his face is turned sideways. Okay. So now we have that. But we need to make sure that his arms and legs are in the correct position, or the correct stacking order in the layers. So double click fin, frame 0. We're gonna do depth sort, and then make sure you click this button right here. It's called Enable Animated Layer Order, and hit OK. So that just means when we're doing the body turn, we can change the layer position here. So on frame 1, we want the left arm to be above the body. So I'll click left arm. I'm going to drag it above the body, and I actually want it to be above everything. So I'm going to drag it to the very top, and then I'm going to select the left leg. Oh, it's already in front. And let's see, we want the right ear to go behind the body. So we'll drag that underneath it so it's behind, because he's turning. And you see how that's behind as I move through the timeline to 24. That's behind everything, and the left ear is in front. And the arm and leg are in front. Okay, and we want, by frame 24, we also want the left foot to turn. So we'll just, oops, go to the bone layer. I'm gonna hit T, and I'm just gonna turn it to the right. So as I drag from 0 to 24, you can see his foot turns also. And at 24, if I hit Z and test it, oops. Keep grabbing the, oh, his back leg is not correct. It needs to be behind the body too. So let's go back to frame 1, and then make sure the right leg is under the body as well. So we'll drag that underneath. And now when he turns, oh, I messed it up. I moved his, I didn't want to turn that. Delete. Oh man. Which button? Okay. I had it rotated, so let's make sure that's correct. Okay, now let's just double check. That's behind. Oh man. We'll check this. Hold on, what did I just do? Undo. Okay, so we just have the half turn. Let's double click it back into the timeline to check it. So I'm going to go into the timeline. I'll hit Z. Let's turn him. Oh, wait a minute. This is turning. I accidentally erased the body turn actions of the bone. So I need to hold shift down and turn that to the side again. And double click the timeline. Now let's turn him. Okay. I just wanted to check to make sure that back leg, the right leg, is behind the body, which it is. So as soon as this bone starts moving, the right arm and leg go behind him. So we can still grab all of his bones, and he can still move. We can turn the foot if we need to ahead of time. But he turns all the way to the side. Straighten that foot out. And the feet are in the correct position, so that's in the back leg. And again, I know the face looks crazy, but again, Command R and render, you can see that it's actually masked out. So he's actually, his face is turning. So it's just gonna look weird when you're doing your animation, but it actually works for his face. So we can turn him all the way to the side. I can grab his hip bone and actually turn him completely and make it look like he's flying. And where's his mouth? Let's do this so we can see that better too. I'm gonna select his mouth, his face, and the mouth. Actually, I'm gonna open it up so you guys can see it being masked. So let me grab those points. Grab his teeth. Move those up a little bit. Hit T. Okay, so let's go back into the body turn. Let's make sure everything's moving in his face too. So if I turn him sideways and render it, I just wanted to see. So yeah, you can see his mouth as well right there is being cut off. I just wanted to make sure that was working too. So let's continue to do the body turn. We'll do a complete 360. So at frame 24, he's turned to the side completely. We'll go to frame 48 and hit T. And now let's rotate the bone completely down. So I'm holding shift so it snaps. Now it's completely down. So we just need to do the same thing. We'll keep grabbing the body parts and moving them to the correct side. The face is actually, let's click on the face and just drag that off because we're not going to see it when he's completely turned around. So at 48, the face is completely off of him. I hit T, select the bone layer, and let's move his arms. Oops, this might be tricky because I put them right in the center. Here's a good trick. If you have bones overlapping and you're having a hard time grabbing them, I'm just going to go back a little bit. And I want to grab like this, the left arm here. And I want to move it over here. I'm just going to move that on this frame. And you see I made a keyframe way over here. And I'll just drag that keyframe over to 48. So it doesn't affect the center, like it's centered right here, and then on 48 it just goes to where I need it to go. So I'll do the same thing for the other arm. Go back here. I'm gonna grab it. I'm holding shift down and dragging it over to the side of the body. Then I'm just grabbing that keyframe and pulling it over to 48. So see, his arms start there, they turn, and then they get in the correct position by 48. And we'll do the same with the legs. Let's go back a little bit. Doesn't matter where it is, just as long as they're free and clear of the other bones. And we're gonna do left leg. So I'll click that, hold shift down, drag it over to the side of his body, right there. Grab the keyframes, pull those over to 48. Do the same thing here. Grab the back leg, pull it over to the side where it needs to be, and then drop those keyframes to 48 as well. So now he rotates all the way to the back like that, and you need to do the ears too. So go to 48. I'll click on the left ear, and left ear needs to be all the way to the right. So go to frame 48, hit T, drag those over here. Where's the right ear? Right ear, Command A if the points aren't selected, and then hold shift down and left click and drag to the left. So they're in the right place. And then you can actually grab those points and just make those better. Left ear, make sure that's in the body. And then by frame 48, I want the left ear, or the right ear, to go forward. It's going to pop back like that. The left arm is going to go behind the body, so I'll drag it underneath it. And since he's not facing us, let's drag the left leg under the body as well. Like that. Then we'll go ahead and grab under the bone layer. Let's hit T, rotate the feet so they're facing forward-ish. And you see how his sock is actually, you can see it in the leg a little bit. We'll fix that here in a second. Let's go ahead and rotate his feet like that. So let's see what this looks like. He's rotating, he's going all the way to the side. I'm going to straighten his feet out so they're both pointing to the right. And they turn like that, and his feet are facing away from us. And I think that looks good. The face is completely gone. Let's do a Command R and render. So you can see the face it's out here floating, but since it's masked, it's just hidden. But it looks like Finn's not facing us at all. So we have a 180 turn. And let's double click out into the timeline. So back to the main timeline. And we want the socks to be in the very back. So let's click on the legs. I'm going to hit Q. And remember his sock or his boot is actually just a stroke. So when I click that, it should turn checkered like that. Then I'm just going to go to draw and say lower to back. So it's going to be the very back of the layer. What we need to do is leg too. Let's do lower to back. But that's going to make it. Yeah. Okay. So I lowered it to the back, and the reason it turned black is because, remember, his legs are made of 2 strokes. So then let me select the black stroke, and lower that to the back too. And let me see. I'm gonna hit Z. Okay, we need. Let's do Q. Because we need the sock or the boot just to be behind just the skin color. So left leg, Q. Let's just lower it one time. Lower shape instead of lower all the way to the back. So we'll just lower it once. No, let's see. Q. Sorry, this is just how it goes, man. Sometimes you gotta try and figure stuff out. Let me let's see, that's gonna put it well, you know what? I think the best solution is to just if the feet are facing back, just make sure that they're not going behind the leg, or like if you're in the timeline, let's say I have the feet rotated this way, just grab that top point, hit T, and shrink it. So I can make it a lot longer or shorter. So we'd foreshorten it anyway. So just hit T, shrink it a little bit. So when his feet are facing that way, you don't see it. So that's going to be the quick and dirty solution for that. So let's go in the timeline, hit Z, let's just test it out. There's Finn to the side. Oh. I keep grabbing his torso bone. So we can make him running to the side. I still need to fix his body to bend correctly. It has... Maybe it has too many bones, because we need to fix the face. Oh! You know what? The mouth, look at the mouth isn't following the face when I use this bone. So let's make sure that let's select the mouth, and we're gonna use the bind layer tool. So where is it? Bind layer, and then I'm just gonna select that top bone, and let's go in the timeline, select the bone layer, and let's go ahead and rotate him. So it's rotating, and then if I hit Z, okay, now his mouth is moving correctly. Let me render it so you can see he's looking down now. We can keep rotating him so he's not facing us. He's looking off into the distance or whatever. Render that. So now we have a 180 turn. All we have to do is finish doing the same exact thing to do a 360. So we'll go to frame 72, and we're going to make him face the other way. So frame 72, hit T, make sure you're on the bone layer. Left click and drag in the center of the bone and hold shift down so it snaps. And it's facing left. Hit T. Grab the left arm, or the right arm I should say. Drag that to the center. Do the same with the other arm. Other leg. We'll just center everything again. And then for the face, on frame 48, let's click on the transform layer tool just so we can grab the face. And I'll click on it so it makes a keyframe, and then frame 49, I'm just going to move one over. I'll move it to this side of him. And then I'll go to frame 72, and I'm going to drag it halfway in. Right there. Let me render it so we get half of his face. Maybe a little too much. Let me pull it back. Right there. Render. Okay. Let's move his ears. Right ear. Command A. Select all. T. Move his ear to the center. And left ear. Command A. Select all. Move to the center. Select the bone layer. I'm just going to turn his feet this way. It's not really necessary to correct the feet because you can just do that in your animation. Okay, so on 48, both of the arms go to the back. Then on 49, I want this arm, which is the right arm actually. It needs to be above the body. And drag it all the way to the top, above the face. And where's the right leg? Drag that underneath the right arm. So that comes to the front. So when we're turning those legs, that leg and arm are in front. When we turn to the side. Oh, which ear? Okay, so from 48, 49, this ear needs to go behind the body, which is the left ear, right? Yeah. Drag that behind or under the body, so it goes behind. And he turns. Let's render. Like that. Then we'll go to frame 96. And we're gonna, that ear is already selected. And that's gonna go all the way to the left. So drag that to the left. Select the other ear, right ear. Drag that to the right. Select the face. Transform layer. I'll hold shift down. I'm gonna drag that to the center. go to the bone layer, and again we need to use that little trick because there's so many bones in the same place. I'm going to keep grabbing it, so I'm just going to go back to where they're not centered. I'll hit T. I'm going to grab this point, drag it all the way over to the right. Then I'll grab that keyframe and just pull it to 96. So at 72 it's centered, and then it goes all the way over to the right. And we'll do the same thing for this bone. I'm going to click it, hold shift down, drag it all the way over to the side of his body. Grab those keyframes and just pull them over to 96. So we go from facing away from us, he turns, he's turning, and then the arms are in the correct place. And I want his this arm to go to the back right at the end too. So 96, right arm under the body. And we'll do the same with the legs. Go back a little bit. Click and drag this over to its position it needs to be in. Grab those keyframes, pull them to 96. Check it, make sure it's rotating right. Yep. Do the same for this one. Click and drag, hold shift down, pull it over to the side. Grab those keyframes, drag them to 96. So he rotates all the way back around. And then on frame 96, I'll have that leg go behind the body. And let's go ahead and rotate his feet if you want. You don't have to. But select the bone layer, then we'll grab this bone, turn it this way, and then his foot that way. Double click back into the timeline, and I think now we have a full 360-degree turn for the character too. So let's go in the timeline. I'll hit Z. And again, I know that looks really weird that his face is floating out there, but if you render it, it's not there. And let me undo that. Let's just do a 360-degree turn. So I'll go to frame 48, and I'm just going to grab him and then turn him. Maybe grab his arms. Keep grabbing that middle bone. So he's facing sideways. I'm just moving his legs so you can see that he turns completely. I'll go to frame 96, hit Z, keep spinning him. Move his legs some more. Turn his foot so it looks like he's facing that way. Go forward some more, turn him all the way around. Oops. I don't have the body turn bone position. So let's go back. Okay, frame 96. I didn't turn the bones up, so I'll hit T and rotate it all the way up. Let's go back in the main timeline. There we go. And that last frame, when it goes all the way around, I have his arm in the back, so we can just rotate it back a little bit so his arm's still there. So there's a 360-degree body turn. Again, this is a lot easier to do because let's see, his arm. Trying to see. Maybe I shouldn't have this arm go back so soon. Well, it depends on how your character's standing. So let me see. That looks correct if his arms are down. His foot. But I think this is a pretty good base for getting the body turn for your character. Anyway, I think this video's running a little long, so I am gonna make it part 3 now, just because we did the whole body turn. So next video, we're gonna do fingers, we're gonna do mouths, so we can get all of his mouths and do lip syncing, and some of his face rig, and we should be done. So if you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below, and leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will see you next time.